Well, I've got another painting to do. I got a message from a lady called Kimberly Rickaby, lovely message, and she wants me to do a painting of her husband, Alan, who has got a 50th birthday coming up. He also has three beautiful dogs. They're Labradors. There's one called Molly, one called Pickle, and one called Bear. So she sent me numerous photographs, one of Alan, and then three separate ones of the dogs. So I've got to use my artistic brain to kind of create this, put it all together, and I'm going to crack on with it. So as always, I've got myself all set up here. It's actually been a really hot day today, so I've just waited until it cooled down. I'm going to crack on with it now and try and do this evening. So we're going to start off by sketching the image, get Alan and the three dogs all roughly looking good, and then I'll crack on with painting it. And of course, as always, I'll film it and I'll speed it up so you can see how I do it. So we better get started. Okay, so you can see I've basically got it sketched out. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Got the composition right. So here's Alan and here's the three dogs. To be honest, I don't know which is which. Pickle, Molly and Bear. I can't remember which is which, but you can see they're all in line. So this is the yellow lab, and the others I think are both chocolate. Yeah, they're both chocolate labs. So the darker one and a paler one in the middle. So they're all set out. I've actually added a little bit of greenery here, which actually wasn't on the photographs, but because the photographs were all separate, I've had to kind of use my imagination to stitch them all together. So just so it all looks right, I've kind of done them in long grass. As you can see, I've just kind of added bits of long grass, and that means that I don't have to worry then about the feet and everything else, because they're all stood in sort of long, kneaded grass. Anyway, we're ready to start cracking on with putting some paint on, so I'll get started with that bit. So I've got a little bit of paint on there. I'm going to use the blue, the yellow, a tiny bit of green and some white to mix up the colours and start off with the background. So in the beginning I use a very wet brush and basically put on a wash, a background colour, and then as the paint dries I blend it in. You'll notice I'm using a fairly big brush, and that means that I can blend the colours as I'm going along, and the paint sort of does the job for me. And then using a slightly smaller brush, I can put in some of the looser detail before I go in and really start to put in the main detail later. Okay, so we're getting somewhere now. I've got the basic colour and the dogs and obviously Alan in. Background pretty much done. It's still a little bit wet, so I'm gonna just let this dry for half an hour or so, maybe an hour, while I take a quick shower and have some food. Then I'll come back to it in a little while and start putting in all the detail. Right, a couple of hours have gone by. I'm going to get back on and try and finish this painting. And do you ever do that where you put your glasses down somewhere and you can't find them? God knows what I've done with my other glasses. I've stuck them somewhere. So I've got my old glasses now. Not quite as cool as the others. Anyway, I better crack on with this because it's going to get late. So I'm just going to fill in the details now. As you can see, I've got the basic painting is sort of up together, but I've got to do all the intricate bits of the eyes and the nose, and then I'm going to put in some grass, tufts of grass, and obviously try and finish the detail off on this gentleman's face. So enough yapping. I do have a nice cup of tea just to keep me awake, as always in my special bird of prey mug, and I'll crack on with it. People quite often ask me how long it takes for me to do a painting, and the answer is there isn't really a set time. They just they're finished when they're finished. I would say that most of them I can manage to do within a couple of hours, but some of my favourite paintings that I've ever done have actually taken much less time than that, which I know that's extremely annoying for people because they want you to have spent hours on something, but sometimes you can do them pretty quick, especially if you really are enjoying what you're doing. Sometimes there can be a temptation to do too much, and I know that when I get to the point where it's finished, I have to tell myself, right, that's it, you've done it now, because you can keep going back to it and adding bits and eventually spoil what you've done when maybe it might have been finished earlier, but you kind of know when it's done. Well, I reckon that one's just about finished. It's pretty late now. I think it's approaching 1 o'clock in the morning. So I better go and get some shut-eye because I've got a flight to catch tomorrow. But I'm pretty chuffed with that. I'll leave it to dry for 24 hours and then I'll frame it. Okay, so I think that's just about finished. All I've got to do now is sign it and leave it to dry for an hour or so, and then I'm going to send it off. So I'm absolutely thrilled to bits for that one. It's come out really well, and I hope that the lady really is happy with it.